Hello, I'm Jo Good, and this is the SheerLuxe Gold panel, the gold edition dedicated to our wonderful gold viewers. We have some really fun chats coming up. We're covering life transitions, well-being tips, careers, and more. But first of all, let me introduce my truly fabulous guests. They really are. I'm delighted to be joined by the supermodel Yasmin Le Bon and ex-British #1 tennis player and now television radio presenter Annabel Croft. Welcome, girls.
Thank you for having us.
I am so excited to speak to both of you because you know each other.
Yes, from a long time ago.
Yeah. From a long time ago. And Yasmin, I've interviewed people for about 30 years, but I've never interviewed you before.
Well, I mean, thank goodness.
How have you
got something to look forward to? I mean, this is it.
I am so excited to chat to you. Annabel, however, I have interviewed quite a few times. When I work for the BBC and we do our whole show from Wimbledon.
The roof, yeah.
From the roof on Ladies' Day, my producer always says, find Annabel Croft, find Annabel Croft.
Yeah, because Annabel speaks better than anybody.
God.
You're always so fascinating, interesting. You just
thank you. I'm sure that's not true, but
no, it's
anyway.
true. You give so much. It's fascinating. I mean, I love watching the tennis, but I love listening to you.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you to say.
And do you know, you always would come and help us out, even if we hadn't booked you.
Last minute.
Last minute. And can we just talk about that? Because what Yasmin says is true. And forgive me, sometimes interviewing sports people is like pulling teeth because it's not their talent. Yeah. But you have a sporty talent and you've fallen into presenting and broadcasting so easily.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't think it's not that easy a transition, actually, is it? I think you kind of make mistakes along the way, but you learn. And I think with my career, I was incredibly fortunate that I had people around me that were prepared to tell me how bad I was and actually take the headsets off and start telling me a few tips.
Really?
And it was a bit of a difficult moment, that, because you're like, oh, I thought I was doing okay, and then they're kind of ripping you to shreds. But once they started to unveil where you're making the mistakes, then you kind of, it's putting your ego to one side, isn't it?
Because it could be really off-putting.
Very
actually.
off-putting.
I mean, that could be quite traumatic.
Yeah, it is a bit traumatic.
Really put yourself on the line.
Yeah, but also...
I mean, I wonder how that is, because
it was tricky.
You make it look very easy. You
Oh,
guys
well,
make it
thank
look
you.
very easy.
Oh, Yasmin, I've only just started. Wait for this day.
You're amazing.
You made me think,
Don't get me
God,
wrong.
help
but
me.
I remember somebody asked me to interview someone, and I found it just interviewing, even for a magazine, I found it excruciatingly difficult.
Yes.
I don't know why. Suddenly, this other side of me sort of closed up.
Yeah.
I went from being this chatty person to suddenly being this really silent
Because you're having to dip into a different skill and ask a question.
Yes.
And you don't want a closed answer.
But I'm surprised because I've only just met you, but you're naturally curious. If you're curious, you are very curious.
I know, but that button got switched off the minute I sat down and had to ask anyone a question. Which is
Well, you needed a few people like I had to kind
go
of...
on court and after the match do the interview. Now, I think that's the most difficult thing. You make that look absolutely...
Well,
you are a natural.
Well, thank you. I feel like we're going to have to widen the doors for my head to fit through.
But you got a lot. So you got a lot of constructive. I mean, people
I did get a lot of very constructive criticism at the beginning, and you definitely at that point I had to put away my ego and think, actually, is this information helpful and is it going to take me to a better place? And each time I thought, oh, actually, what they're saying is correct.
Please tell us one of the criticisms, because I've had loads. One of them being your questions go on and on and on and on, so the person doesn't know.
Actually, I was told that, and I was told the shorter the question, the better. How did you win the match? What happened today?
Sure.
What were the tactics today?
Listening to people, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also asking a question that makes the person answering, like we are today, working for our answers, so that we're not giving you the opportunity to close down the question and just go, I played really well today.
It's an opener, isn't it? It's an opener. You're just opening the book and inviting them to
and
talk.
I always say when I'm interviewing tennis players, I want them to layer their answers. So if you're asking them about the match, they don't just go, I played really well. Yeah. You want to say, well, what did you do today that made you play well?
Yeah.
And then they've suddenly got to tell you a little bit more about what happened in the match. And then there's a layer to what they're saying.
To unpick.
To unpick, yeah. So I've sort of learnt across the years, and I definitely, at the beginning of my career, when going back to the interviews, which is a bit terrifying going out there into a massive audience, but the shorter the question and the simpler the question was always so much better. And also, it's never about you, is it? It's sort of like take yourself out of it and make sure that everything, I call it passing the rugby ball. Just pass the
Yeah,
ball.
but it's so difficult to do. You make it look very, very
Well,
easy.
you could definitely do it, but you probably haven't had somebody
sure
to
about
show
that.
you how. Yeah, you definitely could.
The camera loves you as well. It doesn't particularly
love
love
you.
me, I can tell you.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry?
Excuse
The camera, you were
me.
made, you were
We're not-
born
I-
for the camera.
born.
I'm
Yes.
very grateful. I'm very grateful. It takes a lot of people to do what I do.
That seriously, you
mean,
must have come out of the
not
womb.
blaming
a lot,
that.
camera
a
gone,
lot
yes.
of people.
No,
so
I don't.
it's very much a team effort.
No.
Yeah, it's not natural.
Natural beauty.
No, but not on camera. I'm not saying this, but I really have to concentrate. When I go to work, I turn into a different beast. You try and take a snapshot of me now, I'll do the same thing I always do in every snapshot. I'll just grin wildly like a mad idiot because I cannot pose or do anything. I know I'm going to ruin every family photograph, which is why I'm not in many family
Don't
photographs.
believe this.
I
This
don't
is
I'm not, because
extraordinary.
they would all look angelic and I'd look like the devil next to them. But when I go to work, I go into a different place, into a different headspace,
Can
and
we
I
have some
need
tips?
and I
Yes.
need everyone around me. So everybody on that team, I have an interaction with them that somehow, I don't know how, because every time I go to work, I literally sit and go, I'm never going to be able to pull this off. It's just not going to work. I don't know. It's not going to
you
work
know-
today. It definitely isn't.
do you
And
know
then by
what-
the end of it, we somehow managed to do it together.
What is extraordinary is meeting someone like you. Annabel, back me up. So I've never met you before, and I was quite scared of meeting you because and I'm not going
Because I
to
look like
smoke
the
up your
devil,
ass.
yeah,
No, because you are everyone. If you say the words Yasmin Le Bon, everybody goes, oh God, she's beautiful. And everybody says that.
Yeah,
And
they
I just
do.
thought, and because you are so beautiful, I always thought, gosh, she's going to be really intimidating because you're everything I'm not, for a star. And I just thought, and I was really worried when you turned up at reception because I just thought, what's she going to be like? Because sometimes you think, if nature has done you so many favours, you don't have to try to be liked. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
no, I think I have to try very hard. I mean,
Well, no, but you are so likeable, and you
it's
just
probably
think,
one of my problems is a bit too much people pleasing. I mean, I'm glad with age now. I'm learning to just go, you know what? I don't have to say yes or
isn't
do
that
that.
so
I don't.
interesting?
You know, I've spent a long time. I'm going to be the most horrendous. If I manage to make it into old age, whoa, everything's going to come out. There'll be no diplomacy. None of that. Whatever is
Just a
on my
wild
mind
child.
will be coming out because I've really been very diplomatic my whole life.
Can we talk about transitioning? And you were saying, Annabelle, you went from being a professional tennis player to now a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to have to relive this all again, but the whole nation sat with their mouths hanging open watching you on Strictly. Because, and as I say, I don't want to bring all this up, but you'd lost your husband very recently. In fact, from diagnosis to death, I think it was 4 months, was it?
3.5.
3.5 months.
Terrible.
So we'd all, as a nation, heard that news, and then we saw you on Strictly, which is one of the most stressful live programmes you could ever be on. And I remember watching it with my toes curled up because I just thought, is she going to be able to do this? Did it save you, would you say?
It did save me, yeah, there's no question about that. And I do look back at it sometimes and analyse, gosh, that was quite extraordinary to do it so quickly after what had happened. But all I kept thinking about was the house is going to be dark and empty at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in that period of time, from the late summer into winter. And it was such a shock for all of the family, but obviously I was on my own. I mean, the house was going to be empty, where it was always quite full, and Mel was such a big presence in the house. So to me, it was like, why would I say no to something so joyful as dancing? And to go and just occupy my brain for a period of time to take over from terrible grief. And it really did help me. I mean, I'll look back, I shiver if I'm even talking about it now, but I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity that I had. And I'm very, very grateful for all of the public who were so kind and thoughtful. And I realise, if you haven't been through grief, we hear about death, but you don't really understand it. But when you go through it, and it's such a shock, now I feel like, how did I go through most of my life and not understand this? It's such a big part of life. Everyone's going to face it at some point. But I feel like I can identify with other people who are going through it so much more than I ever realised before.
Yes, and I think that's why you doing it was a showcase to a lot of people who were going through it or have been through it. And you need something. I mean, it was a form of therapy, I assume.
Yes, I think so.
It must help you. You're not going to stop grieving or the grieving process.
I still feel,
But you're
every
going
day.
to, but that journey, that passage, that sudden. I mean, it was so sudden.
Yeah, it was.
It must have.
It's still a shock. I mean, I still feel like I'm still traumatised by it, to be honest with you. And you know, your head goes into all sorts of funny places all the time. But the one thing I know is that when you wake up, I do get out of bed quite quickly. I'll have a cup of tea in bed. That's my routine. I absolutely can't start my day without a cup of tea.
You're busy, and that's.
I just make sure I get up, have a shower, try and make myself look like presentable, and then I'll always go for a walk in the park and try and just get some peace and solitude and nature.
Nature's brilliant.
And I think
for that.
it's just amazing for that.
Doesn't it become more and more important the older you get?
Very much
I
so,
feel like this early summer, this spring early summer, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm on psychedelic drugs or something half the time. Maybe I am, I don't know. Don't know what Simon's been putting in my tea in the morning, but I feel like the greens are just so vivid. And I keep saying thank you to my stupid little dog because I have to take her out every morning because I'm getting out into it. And I think it's doing me so much good.
Yeah, I can't say enough about it. It's what keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I go twice a day because I don't want to be in the house too long on my own in the evening because it's just quite a long evening. So if I come back from work early enough, I'll do morning walk and evening walk. But it definitely helps, and I think it's the most wonderful thing.
Oh,
we'll
it's
have to go for a walk.
Well, yeah, for a walk. Do you have borrow my dog any time? She'd love you.
I don't want to be picking up the poo.
But it's so true. Liz Earle, I think she said on here actually that the moment she wakes up, she just looks at daylight. Yeah. You know, even in the winter, just drink it in because it's going to help through grieving or just living. It's going to help you.
It just changes your perspective for a moment. You may just see something or someone else's face, or it just can change your mindset.
Mood,
you know, it's just to be able to reset things.
Can I ask, Yasmin, I mean, you know, you have, sorry, forgive me, you haven't suffered the grief that Annabel has.
Gosh, no, absolutely
but
not.
You know, we're very fortunate. Being female, our lives are chapters, and we were talking about hormones before we came on air, actually. And hormonally, we live in chapters all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
You, as a supermodel, were right up there, but then you hand the baton to your daughter. Is that a celebratory thing, or is there a, oh, God, I wish it was me going on?
Oh, no, listen, I mean, I've managed to carry on. I have no idea how or why. I was happy for her to do it because I knew that she had, she'd been with me enough to know how to handle herself and how to handle the business. But I felt sorry for her because it's a business that's really changed a lot. Maybe not as much fun as it used to be. It used to be a much smaller thing. You could make real friendships there, I think. People were loyal. There was a lot more fun to be had. You know, and you didn't have to keep reinventing yourself every 2 seconds. You know, you'd go to work, do your job, go home, that would be it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have to think 24 hours a day whether something was a great little photo opportunity or that they should, or maybe I should be posting this. I mean, how on earth these girls now switch off, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where do you divide you as a person, your soul, and you as the person you project? I think that's so difficult. I feel quite strongly about it.
That's really interesting. And do you think, like, people, forgive me, like myself, who become influencers, do they detract from models? I mean, modelling is a talent.
They're very different things. I mean, still to this day, you know, you see, we all moan about, you know, the actresses taking models' jobs, but a model does something entirely different.
Yeah.
What I loved about modelling was that you didn't know about them, you didn't hear them speak. We create our own narrative. That those pictures, those editorials, you are dreaming through me. I'm just a vessel.
Yes.
I shouldn't be speaking.
No, I totally get it.
I used to sort of, it's why I didn't like to do too much press, because I thought, you know, the mystery kind of goes somehow, and that's what a great model is. You don't know. She's a vessel you're going through. You're reading that story and that scene through somebody.
That's so true.
Fascinating.
And now they're
As
all...
an actress, you can't do that. You've heard them
exactly.
speak, you've heard them in characters, you have associations with them.
But now all the models are on Instagram, so they're expected to show us some of their life, which is
difficult.
Has it all merged with all the influencers?
Well, some of us don't. I don't.
No.
You may get a picture of my bra sometimes.
Can we talk about bras very quickly?
Oh my goodness!
Because
honestly,
I
don't know what's going on.
You
what
have
they're
one on.
doing. I don't know how to deal with them.
Both Yasmin and I have suddenly got breasts, and I know
Yeah.
we're lucky.
Really?
We're lucky we have breasts.
Yeah, we're
But-
lucky.
They've suddenly appeared.
We're lucky, but they suddenly appeared.
Yes.
I mean, Annabel, you can remember.
Mine have shrunk
the
and
back
disappeared.
Of, the back of me looked like I was
Nothing.
bigger at back. My shoulder blades were bigger than
Front.
the front of me. You know, I was completely androgynous.
How extraordinary. And they've
And
just
that was
suddenly
me.
appeared.
That was my vibe.
So what is
you
that,
know?
hormones?
And now suddenly, yeah. Oh, it all changes, doesn't it? You know,
Really?
thickening here, thickening
Yes.
there.
Wow.
But suddenly these boobs
Yours
appear.
hasn't actually, so I'm pointing at your breasts.
My daughters used to take me aside for a long time and go, Ma, you need to wear a bra. And I'd be thinking, cheeky bitches, what are they on about, honestly? And they go, no, you really need to. I'm like, that'd be ridiculous. I've never worn a bra. It's ridiculous. I mean, you're so conservative, honestly. Because the younger generation can be quite conservative.
Yes, yes.
And so I thought, they're just not free like me. And actually, I suddenly realised as I was walking down the street in a vest top that maybe things were starting to
They
jiggle
were
around
moving for the first
quite
time.
a lot. And I was getting attention in a way that I had not got before. And that's when I thought, yeah, there could be onto something here. Yeah, and that's when I realised I
I
was
am
going to...
totally intrigued that you have grown, both
Yes,
of you.
both.
I'd
I've
like some
become.
tips in that department.
I've grown in every way.
Yeah.
You haven't. You look amazing.
I mean,
No.
obviously not brain-wise, but the enlightenment, I'm waiting for that to come.
It is weird because, I mean, God, you're absolutely
But
gorgeous.
everything's, you
But
know.
it's when you, as a model, you knew your body so well, and suddenly there are curves and shapes.
Suddenly, I'm like, there's another person inhabiting my body.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I look in the mirror and I feel like this isn't me. Someone else is in here. So I find that quite difficult. On a very shallow
extraordinary.
stylistic level, I find it extraordinarily difficult now. I want to sell the entire wardrobe. None of it feels right. None of it feels
How
like me.
interesting. God, that's fascinating.
And,
So
yeah.
Only in the last
I'm in a
couple
real
of years?
dilemma. That's why I'm sitting in my pyjamas. No, they're
So-
not my
no,
they're not
you look
pyjamas.
fabulous. Okay, girls, so whilst I've got you here, and who better to talk about this, let's chat about well-being and beauty, because we have the best here.
I want to get both of your tips, actually.
What's
I'm
your-
all
what-
ears.
What's your secret,
My
darling? Because
secret?
you haven't changed
I have.
one bit.
No, I really have. You
No,
haven't changed
face,
at all.
body, everything.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, you're the same.
Well, thank you. I don't know what I do. I do follow quite an alternative approach to everything. So I've always been into homeopathy, been into nature, exercise, not putting products. I mean, some people say, what's your routine? And I don't really put too many products on my face. I just,
I
I've
agree
never
with
put
that.
loads of creams on in the nighttime or whatever. Just
Yeah.
more like very natural oils and things. As much organic stuff as possible. Hair, I use products that don't have any nasties in them at all. Very natural products. One is actually called Intelligent
Did you play
Nutrients.
tennis every day still?
No, I played this morning actually at 8:30. I've run a lot. I think exercise is really good for your health, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because anything
Health
that's
and
sweat,
body, it's your mind.
yeah, it's
as
like getting the
well.
body sweating
Yeah.
and getting all those toxins and things
Yeah.
out of the body. But also sticking to I call it caveman diet, ketogenic diet now, which I've learned through what happened with my husband. So I think as much alternative approach to life is how I approach everything. I don't know about you. How
Well,
about
I mean, I suppose we're all trying to be kind of as clean
Yes.
and as good to ourselves as possible. That's quite difficult with me. I'm like, I can be really good, and then the wine just speaks to me.
Oh, well, they're definitely a
the
glass
cupboard.
of wine,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
No, that will always speak to
That'll
me.
always speak to me. Yes,
Yes.
it always does. I mean, I do think exercise is a wonderful thing, and it's a difficult balance finding how your body changes, which it does. And what I did in my 30s and 40s, I absolutely cannot do the same thing anymore. And that, I injured myself many times. I had a fantastic time. I used to do a martial art, which I absolutely loved. And probably is a good thing that I did injure myself and stop doing that,
Yeah.
because I could
Couldn't have
possibly,
carried on, no.
I could possibly have got into quite a bit of trouble with it. But I think doing more strength work, I spend less time in the gym. I spend half the amount of time training. In fact, not even that. I work really quickly.
Yeah.
And I move between movements quite smoothly and quickly, and the strength stuff is really key. I mean,
So in gyms?
women always forget upper body strength,
Yeah.
and if you don't do that, you are doing your body a big disservice.
Yeah.
As a woman, you do need to do it.
Can I just ask, I mean, what you were saying about your body changing, excuse me, having been a model, what you can wear now to what you could wear. You played tennis this morning. Is it is it frustrating, or maybe you are as good as you were, but do you...
Definitely not.
But because you can't defy age, can you?
No.
Is that frustrating for you now to play tennis? Or do you just think,
It is quite frustrating, but I played with a great friend today. We play regularly together, and I've learned how to not judge myself so harshly. I was very, very harsh on myself when I was trying to play professional tennis, and that takes away the joy and the enjoyment of it, of why you first picked up a racket when you were 9 and just enjoyed hitting a ball. So I play because it's quite a sort of artistic sport, isn't it? It's quite athletic in a way.
It's like anything. It's the expectation you have of yourself.
Of yourself.
Isn't it? I go to a silly little, gorgeous, I love it, painting class on a Friday morning. Get this, a few hours. I look forward to it so much. I'm the world's worst painter. I love meeting all the women there. It just happens to all be women, all from different walks of life. But you go in there, and all the time I'm saying to myself, it's just about the process. It's just about the process. Forget what you thought you were going to do or how you thought this was going to look, because it's not going to look like that.
No.
It's going to be something else.
And not judge yourself.
It's ego. It's judging yourself so badly. You're talking to yourself all the time. You expect something to be a certain way. Life's just not like that. It really isn't. You've got to let that flow happen. And I think being kind to yourself now is the key. And I said it to somebody the other day. He was asking me, like, she's going through the change of life. She's putting on a little bit of weight. I'm like, honey, you just need to be kind.
Yeah.
Your body's served you really, really well. You look cracking.
Yeah.
Be thankful. Yes, you're going to thicken a little bit. Your body's got to protect itself. Let it do that. You're going to be fine. Keep exercising. But be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
We've got to stop it. And we just keep comparing ourselves. There's so much to compare yourself with.
Oh, definitely. I mean...
It's really hard.
Yeah, going back to your point about with tennis, sometimes if I'm not hitting the ball the way that I used to, or the ball's sailing into the fence, I can laugh about it now and just try and think, okay, we'll make an adjustment and put a bit more spin on it. Or you're never going to be perfect on the tennis court, and it is going to get harder and harder as I get older, but I've learnt how to enjoy it. But coming back to your point about thickening waists and
Yes.
I find this subject quite interesting because I learnt so much with what Mel went through. And the cancer specialist Isabella Cooper, who works at Westminster Labs, she talked very much, and I've learnt this. I mean, I'm 58, and how did I get to this age, or I guess 2 years ago, and learn that actually we should be fueling our bodies on fat, not sugar.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I had no concept of that before. I always used to cut the fat off everything.
Yeah.
Love
And if you fuel your body on fat, which is what we would have done if we were just sort of sitting around the carcasses of animals or whatever, way back, and had our immune systems operating how they were intended to, modern day life is all about processed food and sugar. And high carbohydrate.
Yeah.
And that is what thickens everything.
Absolutely.
And that is where everything changes.
It's such a different mindset, isn't it?
It's totally
fat
different.
You need it. You can't burn fat without fat. You have to put
it's
fuel in
now
it.
I eat a
The
lot of
right
fat.
kind of fuel in.
And can I just, again, without bringing the mood down, Annabel, when your husband was diagnosed, he started to practice that by changing his diet, which you say, all that inflammation, he was in less pain.
The pain just disappeared completely.
Just disappeared.
Well, yeah, I mean, he died of sepsis, so people don't know that he actually died of sepsis. So the cancer was being pulled back, and it was being pulled back quite aggressively. And I now realise that there is a lot in what is ketogenic metabolic therapy. And, I really do want to spread that message to as many people as possible, because we don't understand that actually by having, fatty bacon, but you've got to make sure it doesn't have sugar in it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is actually a good breakfast with lots of eggs. And or meat with a lovely creamy sauce, so the cream doesn't have sugar in it.
That's
but
right.
then if I go around supermarkets...
It's all the carbohydrates
Yeah,
in
it's
our diet.
carbohydrate.
Our diets are laden down with carbohydrates. And they're processed carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So they've got sugar in, and that's the devil.
You cannot find a smoked salmon without really hunting it without the sugar.
And that's why we're addicted to it. I'm addicted to the stuff.
Yeah,
and
because
it's the
you-
sugar.
I mean, it's the biggest drug in the world.
Isn't it?
But it also changes, like when the insulin gets going in the body, that is where it then starts to affect all the hormones. Not that I'm a scientist, I'm not going to try and sit here and pretend I can be a scientist.
It absolutely does.
It's only what I've learned along the way, and I just think
I mean,
it's fascinating.
at our age, I mean, you protein, you need to up your protein, and you need to take the carbohydrates down, and it's really quite simple.
Just very, very quickly, I heard you talk on the Today programme about vitamin D, and that literally, I think, blew the lid off a lot of people's thought process. processes, because your husband was a sportsman.
Yeah.
You would have thought he had enough vitamin D to keep him going, but he was lacking vitamin D, which
He was the lowest vitamin D you could possibly imagine. And he'd spent 20 years in our study, which is a very dark room at the back of the house. And then I realised he wasn't getting any vitamin D. And what I learned was if you sit outside for 15 minutes, you will get enough vitamin D, which will top you up. But you need to get the torso and you need to get your body in the sun. And it also...
It's through the
eyes and everything.
And everyone wears sunglasses.
It's through the eyes.
It's through the eyes. That's the easiest way that your body absorbs it. And many people have natural deficiency in vitamin D, so they can be outside a great deal and still be low.
Yeah.
And
that
does he say
diminishes
wearing
over
sunglasses?
that diminishes over time as well.
Yeah.
So at this age now,
no,
vitamin
it's
D is
interesting.
something you absolutely have to take.
Wow, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Now, if it's at all sunny outside
Get
or
out.
light, I try and get outside in it
Yeah.
as much as I can.
Yeah.
Just because I know it's going to top up the vitamin D. And vitamin D will give you all that immune
Yeah.
system. If you can link it with high dose C and zinc together,
Absolutely.
the three.
In COVID, that was proven anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Girls, we could sit and talk forever. We have to
We
move on.
we're on the same page.
I know, you totally are. Can we
Yeah.
talk about careers? Because, I mean, look how lucky we are that we're all still working.
Yeah.
In fact, I said, at the risk of being really arrogant, I've never had so much work and I'm 70. You two, your diaries are absolutely packed. Can I just congratulate you on working with Georgia Astor?
Oh,
Yasmin?
thank you, yeah.
I was in ITV this morning's wardrobe doing a fashion thing, and they had the red knitted wool
Oh,
outfit.
the red and cream
Oh my
strap.
God! And I said I really want that, and they went, "It's just sold out."
Yeah, no, it has. People keep, I don't know why it's not my range, but they keep approaching me going, oh, went to try and buy that, sold out. And I'm thinking, okay, good. I mean, we did our job. I did my job then.
You did your job.
Yes,
I
I
did
saw your huge
But I felt
post the other
felt
day.
really, they came to me at the right time in my life, actually, where I just feel like I can see it around me all the time. I've got young people around me all the time. I see people struggling. I see bills suddenly jumping up. And I go to the shops, I look around designers, and there are many designers who call themselves luxury, don't get me going on this, and they're really not. And they're so expensive. And I just think fashion and the joyfulness that clothes can bring to you should be for everyone. I feel it more and more and more strongly day by day. Life is so hard for really a lot of people. Why should they not be able to have a piece of joy? Why should something cost thousands? You go to Georgia Astor, it's £20.
Yes. And it's beautiful.
And you'll have some fun.
Yes.
And you'll feel good.
Yes.
And I felt really strongly about it. And then I was thinking about this a lot, and then I got the call, and I thought, wow, okay, something's happening.
Well, I mean, congratulate you. And a lot of the
Well,
line has sold out, and that's down to you putting
Yes,
your face
definitely.
and your body to it. But can we talk about your career? Because the fashion models, the supermodel, well, they weren't supermodels, but the models before you, there was a finite time at which they could be employed.
Yeah,
now you can go on. In fact,
I mean, when I first started, we all just thought, I mean, number one, I thought I'd drop down dead at 25 anyway, but I thought, there's no career after that. I mean, and we all thought, no, I'll be doing something different. Of course, none of us had thought about it. I, of course, got married very young and then started having kids very young. So for me, it was a fantastic job to do. Being self-employed meant I could say yes or no. But it was never, there were very few people. I saw a few girls who used to lie about their age, who did go on, but very few. It just didn't happen. And some of us, like me, basically, somebody probably should have told me to stop. I just didn't stop. I just had absolutely no shame whatsoever and just moved on, carried on. And I kept going up to the clients saying, you know why you need to book me. I'm ticking a lot of boxes. And plus, your customer is my age. Your customer's not 16.
Yeah.
Get real. You need representation by everyone. And I used to obviously, I was just beating my own trumpet. I was just trying to get work.
But
really.
why not?
But actually, I did feel quite strongly about it. And now I think the world has sort of grown up and gone, absolutely. I mean, in another age, you wouldn't have been ageist. You would have been ageist the other way round, really.
Do you know, you lying about your age, that you'll never hear that phrase ever again.
Not
As an
anymore.
actress, I lied about my age constantly.
Yep.
As a presenter at the BBC, I was expected to be younger than I was.
Yep.
That has changed, fortunately.
Thank God.
But no one has to lie about their
No,
age.
they don't
No,
now.
they shouldn't have to,
And
no.
we've gone back to maybe a much more ancient time when really the wisdom, the whole point. I mean, I always say this about menopause, you know. My daughter came up with something really interesting the other day. She said there are 3 animals that have a menopause: elephants, killer whales, and human beings. Wow. For a very important reason. They're matriarchal societies. Now, in any other species, once you've finished reproducing, that's it. We don't, for a very good reason.
I love your daughter.
Because we're here to pass on all our knowledge and experience.
Yes.
And we do. Thank you very much,
Yes,
because we're here
yes.
today.
I mean,
Exactly.
this is a hugely
all
successful...
our wisdom and knowledge. And I think, and I looked and I thought, oh my God. I mean,
that.
I actually really kissed her all over that day.
Oh my
because
God,
I
yeah.
needed that. I was having one of those down days. And she went, and that's
And
why,
to
and
come
that's
from
why
your
you're
daughter.
here.
I
And
love
thought,
that.
love that
yes.
too.
I love that.
Yes, and we've got to celebrate this.
Yes.
We've got to celebrate every age and what it brings and what you bring to the table.
Annabel, you know, we started off by talking about the fact that you are out there now. You are interviewing people at your own sport, you know, that, and your knowledge can only help those interviews. So how fantastic that you've got a tennis player interviewing tennis players. I mean, just would that have happened, do you think, 30 years ago?
Probably not, I don't think. No, but then don't forget 30 years ago we didn't have dedicated sports channels.
True.
So we never had Sky TV or Eurosport, or it's not Eurosport anymore, but all these channels didn't exist. So you just had 3 or 4 channels, didn't you? And tennis was only on once or twice a year maximum, and just for maybe some big matches.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
did
changed completely.
you fear, because the shelf life of a tennis player is minuscule,
Yeah, it's
of
very
all
short,
athletes.
yes.
I mean, did you think, oh my God, the ageing process, once I'm too old, what the hell am I going to do? Was that a concern when you were playing?
You know, when I was playing, I never thought about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting whether
You
you
never
ever
do.
thought... No,
You
you
don't.
never do.
You
You just have
don't.
this exuberance
Yeah.
for life, and you're just looking
Yeah.
up and looking into the distance and excited. But it's only when you get older you start to look back and reflect more, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, I never questioned any of it. But then when I did make the decision to stop playing, which was quite young at 21, then I had no formal education, no credentials, nothing. But I just set about, you know, contacting loads of people and making lists for myself and how was I going to take my career in a different direction. And I always think you have to help yourself to make it happen. I don't think
You were
anyone
quite
gets
driven,
up.
but also you had a real passion as well.
Yes,
So.
I did. And
Because that is really difficult. How do you do that? I mean, I keep joking, what the hell am I going to do when I grow up?
It's true.
I need tips.
Well, you're never going to grow up, I don't
you
think. You're going to
never will.
be eternally looking like
I've never gone to
20.
a job interview. I've interviewed
No.
people. I've never gone to a job interview.
No, I know.
You will always
Eternally
bounce
useful.
into a room.
I've never filled out a
Exactly.
CV. So, I just, it's interesting. I'm very interested to hear how at such a young age because it would have been all-consuming when you were playing. I mean, when I was working, I know I was like, it was taking every waking
Yes.
moment,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, thinking about how I was doing, what plane I was taking, where I was going. So
Yeah.
I couldn't think that far
That
ahead.
far ahead, no.
And now I turn around to young people and I go, listen, have a plan B and a plan C.
Oh,
and,
always.
And keep a hobby going, or two,
Yes.
in fact.
Yeah.
Keep 2 hobbies, you know.
Painting.
Just
Yes.
start doing things. I wish I'd
Interesting.
done more. I wish I'd found more time for myself somehow. I know that's really difficult. 3 children, married, working. Yeah, of course, there are only 24 hours in a day. But I wish I'd just taken like a tiny amount of time.
Are you
every
also a
week.
grandmother?
She is. I can't believe
I have
it.
4
The most glamorous
grandsons. Isn't that
grandmother.
Are you
bonkers?
saying do
It's
more
so
with your
mad.
life?
I know.
It's so mad.
What's your nickname?
Jaja.
Oh, Shasha.
They call me
that's
Jaja.
nice.
After
Oh.
Gabor?
No, so the eldest called me Jaja. He was trying to imitate my niece, who
how
used to call
sweet.
me Yaz Yaz, don't know why, always has done, and she's quite loud. And he was living with me at the time as well, and she was as well, and she kept calling Yaz Yaz, and he was at that age when he was trying to imitate everybody, but he couldn't say the Y sound. So he turned around and he wanted to say Yaz Yaz, and he went Jaja. And Amber and I were there, and we looked at each other and went,
That's it.
So
That's the
exotic.
name.
and I thought, oh my goodness, finally he found my name.
The
call
most
Shasha.
glamorous.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
Gold
got- I
Show
got
with
the best
Jaja
name.
Good.
Jaja.
Could you imagine? I'd love it.
Yeah, thank you, Tara.
So, yes, the art of reinvention and what you're getting up to, and always being current. And you are definitely current because you are off on a one-woman tour.
Well, it's like a speaking tour, yeah, but I'm not going to be on my own on the stage. I will have somebody that will He's actually going to be a ballroom dancer, actually, who's going to interview, but also maybe whisk me around the floor a couple of times.
Dance in it.
I want to dance again, yes, because I really miss it.
Yes.
But I was approached about doing a speaking tour, and at first I was a bit nervous and a bit reticent about it, and then I just started to think, why say no to these opportunities that come your way? And I thought it was a nice opportunity to bring in, what does it take to go from being a little girl that picked up a racket at age 9 to being onto the pro tennis circuit, and then transitioning into broadcasting. We'll probably touch on, obviously Strictly, and then grief, which will touch a lot of people, hopefully, and can share things. We can do quick Q&A, and health. So I'm sort of going to bring in lots of elements on the tour.
I mean, how wonderful. But that's also the idea, you've caught me with the idea of not saying no, saying yes to things.
Yeah, because...
And I think I've started to realise that.
I think
say yes.
so. Say yes.
I used to just say no. It was my default setting, no.
Yeah.
And now... it's yes.
Well, look, you said yes to this. And I mean, this has been one of the best ever.
Yeah, when opportunities come your way, it's good to open the door.
Yeah.
Or if the door opens, walk through it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a go and enjoy it. And
Will
meet
you
lots
do a
of people.
costume?
Fantastic.
Will you do a costume change? Please say yes.
I've been already
Yes,
thinking
please say
about
yes.
Oh my
that,
God,
actually.
you must.
I've been thinking, what
You
costumes
must,
am I
you
going to
must,
make?
you
I know,
must.
exactly.
And while you're going through the costume change, still carry on talking. I remember seeing Grace Jones at the Roundhouse, the most wonderful
Really?
concert I have
What a good idea.
ever been in. Simon and I were just crying the whole time because it was wonderful. And she did an outfit change every song.
While she was
Every
talking?
song. And she would go backstage, still mic'd up,
Oh, how
and would start talking about her life.
she quickly put on
while
her
she's
dress.
changing into
Clever.
some fabulous
That's
thing.
a great idea.
And she had the whole room. We were
Mesmerised.
just spellbound, honestly.
That is so clever.
Spellbound.
You've got to do that
I
behind a
might,
screen.
because I was thinking, how will I do this if I'm
Just-
going to
that
do a
is-
couple of
Keep
dances?
talking backstage. Keep talking.
How interesting.
That's
Yeah,
a brilliant
That's a good way
idea.
of doing it, because I was thinking, oh, well, on stage
I'm-
I'd like to
I'm
wear
here
a
all
certain
day for
outfit.
ideas. Yeah, I'm here all day.
I like that one. You might have solved
No,
a
I
thing.
think that because you could hear a pin drop because people are thinking,
That
what's
they-
she going to come out
And you know what? They're really listening. They're
Yeah,
really
yeah.
listening. And you
Yeah.
say different things.
Yes.
When you're not in front, you're behind. And I realised this with Grace. She was saying things that she wouldn't have said out front.
Yeah, God, how
They were much more
interesting.
intimate
God.
things.
Well, I've actually been doing a lot of sort of like researching for the tour and sort of going out. I'm sure you have massive boxes of all your cuttings and
Oh, blimey,
different
yeah.
jobs you've done. And it's weird how you look back on like 40 years of stuff and you're kind of going, oh my goodness, I forgot I did that
Yeah.
job, or I forgot
Yeah.
I met that person. And I'm coming across all these photographs and footage and different things that I've done. And I'm finding it quite therapeutic, actually. It's
Oh my
quite
gosh, they're going to
interesting.
love it. Can I just ask?
I just look at all that junk. and I think,
Well, I am thinking about
what am I going to do with all of this?
I
Yeah.
know.
Keep
Well, there
it,
is
keep
that
it.
as
for heaven's sake.
well.
So if people want to come and see you on
Yes.
tour, is the best place to go your website, or where's
You
the
can go
best?
to my website, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the whole list of dates is there. But
Fantastic. It'll be at a
I'm
theatre near
excited
you.
about
How many
it.
dates are you going to do?
I've forgotten how many there are, but there's quite a few on there. So like 28 or something like that.
Oh, let's go together.
Blimey,
please
that's
come.
fantastic. I want to come.
Please,
Yeah.
we'll go to
Come.
somewhere near London
Yeah,
or Brighton.
yes,
I thought.
come. Yeah, thank you.
Girls, can I just ask now what you're enjoying? So I'm personally enjoying John Hamm in your Friends and Neighbours, which is a series out on Apple. I absolutely love him, obsessed with him. He was in Mad Men, so that is what I'm enjoying at the moment. What are you enjoying fashion-wise, skin-wise, beauty-wise, watching?
I've just bought a VersaClimber, which is, for me, I'm so excited about. It's the best piece of kit. It's the only piece of kit you need in a gym. It's just incredible.
What is it?
Life-changing. A VersaClimber. So you are using you step on hands and
like
feet
going
and you
upstairs.
climb. You basically
exhausting.
you're climbing. It is life-changing.
Your bottom will have changed shape.
Is it like a wall bar at school?
So it's a standalone piece, a big piece of metal, and then you've got feet, and basically your whole body is working as one.
Wow.
So it's very, very low impact. It was actually designed by physiotherapists to help rehabilitate, I think, actually war veterans to begin with. And so it's very, very low impact on your back and on your knees. It's fantastic. And I have a very bad back, so it's just like.
And your balance? Would
I've
it help
managed
your
to make 2 gyms in London by
Oh, I
VersaClimber.
say.
Wow.
I mean,
I've managed to buy one for myself now, and that's it.
Annabel, would you agree?
Well, I did a lot of that when I was training as a tennis player, and I couldn't bear all the climbing up the stairs. I used to run around stadiums as well, climbing up all the stairs. So it sort of slightly gives me horrors. Thinking about the pain.
You can make it very
Can you
easy.
make it easier? Yeah.
Well, because it's your feet and your arms.
Yeah, I just remember it was like
not like those
thigh
stair
burn.
machines.
I
or
mean,
anything.
that's what mine was. Stairmaster.
Oh, I can't do those.
No,
No.
Stairmaster was a killer.
This you can kind of make it a
okay.
lighter step
Oh,
or
okay.
a bigger step.
Okay.
And
Oh,
it's,
wow.
it's
Okay,
amazing.
I'm going to check that out.
Okay.
Annabel, what are you enjoying at the moment? Wearing, seeing, watching?
Oh, I always love fashion. I mean, I absolutely love fashion. I get excited about it. And my daughters are always helping me with fashion. And it's very good to have daughters, isn't it? That just kind of go, Mum, it's a little bit dated now.
Until they take everything.
Well, they do. Half the time I buy something and I forget that I've bought it because it's disappeared, and then I see it on them in an Instagram picture or whatever. But it's quite funny. But I absolutely love fashion, and I'm sort of a little bit obsessed about looking at it. I could look at fashion all day long, actually. I think it's beautiful. In terms of buying, I mean, like Jasmine touched on, we don't need as much stuff, do we? I think we all buy too much. So it's trying to make things work that you've already got in your wardrobe, and maybe just adding things. Quite into scarves at the moment. I want some tips on how to
Oh, I
tie
love
a
scarves.
Scarves.
Scarves hide 1,000 sins.
Yeah.
It's all about accessories.
How do you tie a
Have
good scarf?
Have a great scarf, have a great bangle, have one great necklace, or it's all about the accessories.
Yes, I quite like that. And in terms of watching things on TV, I was watching last night how all the Bond music was brought together. And it's brilliant. I can't remember which channel it's on, but I think it was Prime Video, I think. Or could have been Netflix. But it was all about Sound of 007. And it was it was a whole documentary about all of the different people.
With the broccoli.
All the
Is it with
musicians.
Cubby Broccoli or whatever his name was?
Yes, it was all about all the great musicians who've been involved in all the great Bond music, and how that music is so iconic. And how it's made such
Certainly
an impact
is.
on all of our lives. So I would highly recommend that. As
Where's
something
that?
really
Is
good to
that
watch.
on Netflix?
I want to say Prime Video.
All right,
I'll have
okay.
to get somebody to quickly look it up, and then we'll come
I've been
back.
watching Slow Horses again.
I need to watch
third
that.
time, actually.
my gosh.
Is it good?
Oh, it's amazing.
Isn't it?
The writing is superb, and the casting is just brilliant. It'll have you gripped within the first few
Oh my
need to
gosh,
do
also
that.
because forgive me, but we are all Londoners and it's shot around London.
okay.
And I love going, I know that, it's Crystal Palace or that's Camden. I just love
I need
and
to
it
do
really
that.
looks like it, but the cinematography is great. The script, the dialogue.
But
watch
yeah,
that
and I
one.
think they're up for a BAFTA. I should know whether they...
It's been
I think
recommended
because
so many
it's been
times.
out for a while, I think they've already had all sorts of awards. I mean, it's brilliant.
No, that's a good recommendation.
Girls, I could have sat and chat to you for ages.
I could have carried on too. I
Seriously,
want
in
to
fact,
hear
we
more.
should. We should go and see Annabel
We
on
should.
tour.
There should be a
well, thank
there should be a
you.
second chapter.
Yasmin, we should go for bra fittings together.
Yeah, I'd need a little help in that, actually. Yeah.
I still hate wearing a bra. Sorry, it's a strange thing on which to end, but do you feel so strapped
Yeah.
up? So where do you buy your bra?
Where do I buy my bras? Because I'm definitely the guru on this, obviously. Now, I'm quite obsessed with a brand in New York called Arax.
Oh,
And they
sounds good.
make really beautiful underwear that is sort of stretch silk and crepe, silk crepe and beautiful cottons, but they're really jewel-like colours. They're like sweets. They're beautifully put together. The colours that they use and the textures
And how
are
do you
really
spell
gorgeous.
it?
Araks, Araks. And they do
Arax.
really gorgeous chiffon slip dresses.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Nice. I can
Beautiful
see you
colours.
in that. How
Yeah.
So you can
stunning.
wear underneath stuff or layer 3 of them together, which is what I do.
Arax.
Where did you get your jumpsuit? I love that. I love
God
it.
alone knows. No, it was a pop-up shop around next to Peter Jones. I think this was just before COVID, actually.
Gorgeous.
And I think it's a company called Spirited Far Away or something.
It so suits
I
you.
think Yasmin could wear anything.
You could
and
wear
just look
anything, damn
gorgeous.
you.
I'm basically
Yes.
wearing a child's jumpsuit.
Yeah, no, but it suits you
really.
because you
It does
are a
suit you.
child.
As you can see, I'm having a few fashion dilemmas at the
No,
moment.
at
No,
all.
not at all.
And Annabel, we love your dress.
Oh,
And
thank
this
you.
is
I
Australian.
quite like the colour. It is. I bought it in Australia when I was down there for the
So-
tennis
so
this year, but
gorgeous.
I think it's called Palm Noosa, I think. You'll have to have a look in the back. Quick look.
Shall I have a quick look?
Have a quick look.
I love that bodice as well.
Palm.
because it's so-
Yes,
Palm.
it's palm. And then underwards, Noosa. It
Oh, it
says
is palm
under.
Noosa.
Palm Noosa.
Okay, but
Palm
I have
Noosa.
suddenly noticed it, having bought it in Australia, I've suddenly noticed it on a few websites over here. So I think they're a brand that's coming over here. But it's quite vibrant for summer, isn't it?
It's fabulous. And
Quite
Yasmin,
fun.
you were
And they're an
saying...
Australian brand.
It's
I
Australian.
think so. I want to say
So
they
many good
are.
Australian brands.
So
aren't
many
there?
good Australian brands. Alame, that's the only one.
They
I
do
know.
summer wear really well.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
summer wear is very, very difficult. That's the thing I
Yes.
struggle with.
Yeah.
I think winter's great. I can get away with rock and roll vibes in the winter. That's quite simple.
Yeah.
But summer I find is very difficult.
We never got to Yasmin's tips for your beautiful face.
Oh gosh, thank you.
I know,
This is
we
why
didn't
she
get
is
there.
such
We're
a
not
great
letting you
presenter.
go.
Yes, come on.
This is why there has to be a chapter 2. How long have you got?
Because you must be sent. You must be sent everything.
No,
So-
you know, I could be sent a lot more. That stopped. I don't know. What happened? You turn 60, everybody forgets about you. Well, I didn't fall down a drain.
But what are your
I'm still
go-to
here.
favourites?
I used to say I put the good, the bad, and the ugly on. I'd wear all sorts of things. But I'm being really dishonest if I say that now. There are a couple of things I'm obsessed with. The moment I tried Augusta Espada, the cream, I really never looked back. That was it. There's just more than anything. Yes, the results I can see. It's how it makes me feel, and I think that's key to it. I think that there are some great people like SkinCeuticals who do a classic serum that is great. I don't like you. I don't like to do too much to my face. So all these regimes and masks, I basically those masks. I just kind of put them on my feet. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tip.
Yeah.
do
I mean, my feet don't look great, by the way. Yeah, I could put some more feet, like put some more face masks on.
That is such a great
That's a good
I
tip,
mean,
actually.
I mean, all that stuff, you know, and you meant to make. I remember years and years and years ago going to a Shiseido counter, and it must have been 10 products. I looked at the woman, and I went, "Who has time
Yes.
For all
For
of
the
this.
layering.
I meant to do this
Yes,
every night.
yeah.
Are you kidding?
It's too much.
Like literally, I just want to take my face off, splash my face, and stick
Keep
a
it
cream
simple.
on. That's it.
Well, girls, you look amazing.
Oh,
I'm
look,
off
it
to
works.
put a face pack on my feet.
Yeah.
I've loved this so much. I hope you both have enjoyed
We
it.
have.
And I really hope all of you have loved it. If you do, please give us a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. I try to answer every single comment. And please subscribe if you haven't yet. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Say goodbye, girls.
Oh,
Bye.
bye.